welcome back to the Top
Nope.
Shelf Fest.
It is with heavy heart that we start this episode honoring the lives of Johnny and Matthew Goudreau, who passed away, unfortunately, due to the negligence of an individual last week. I don't even have words on what to say. Our hearts go out to their families, to their friends, the people that knew them, the hockey community as a whole. It's just unfortunate. So, rest in peace, Johnny and Matthew. You guys will definitely be missed. Unfortunately, we had to start the episode that way, but we do have a whole new look, so we hope that you guys like that. We're back finally for the second season of Top Shelf Dusters. My name is Jesse. I don't have any other words but that, so anyone else want to take it over?
My name's Cass. Like Jesse graciously put it, the hearts of all of us go out to the Goodrow family and friends.
And I'm Ethan. And I think we all became a little bit of Columbus and Calgary fans, but especially Goudreau fans. Good Lord, I can't say fans. Big Goudreau fans over the last week, and will continue to be so. Whether you had a team go down to a Goudreau goal or cheered him on, you're with him all the way now. So, couple things just to talk about it before we really dive into the episode. There was a GoFundMe for Matthew Goudreau, and it was for his wife, and she is pregnant currently with their first child, I believe. And just within 7 days, it has raised $639,558.
Wow.
Which I believe their goal was like 30,000.
Wow.
And I know it was over 400,000 within the first 3 days. So everyone was really showing up for that. Lot of donations in the amounts of $1,313, so 1313.
Oh, nice.
It was really cool. A couple other cool things happened, like the Saddle Dome. The day after, there were a lot of people who came out, put tributes on the steps of the arena. Obviously, he was a big staple there. And then Calgary and Columbus, they both hosted candlelight vigils on Wednesday of this week. So they had pretty big turnouts from what I saw online.
It looked crazy. Both of them. Yeah. They looked like a lot of people showed up. There were people in all types of jerseys that, I mean, I saw a dude in an Edmonton jersey, you know, like just paying respects to him, which just really goes to show you how much this guy impacted the world of hockey as a whole, not just Calgary or Columbus, just the entire world of hockey. Like, it's just good to see people coming together for that.
Yeah. And even, I think it was the day it was announced that they were the two people struck by the vehicle, Slovakia and Hungary over in Europe, they were playing in a Olympic qualification game. They were quick on it. They had a moment of silence before that game, and that was just hours after it broke the news. So lots of respect going all throughout. And I would expect if you go to an NHL game, like a home opener in all the arenas, you're going to see some type of tribute, whether it's on opening night or when Columbus comes through. Expect to see a lot of it. And I think that's great. Obviously, it's terrible why it's having to happen, but it's something that kind of puts a staple on why the NHL respect levels are so great, in my opinion. Cash, you'd mentioned something.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you follow the sport of hockey by now, you know that this all happened the night before Johnny and Matthew's sister's wedding. It almost brings me to tears thinking about it, you know. They rescheduled the wedding because of the incident that happened, and their sister, Katie, shared a picture of her wedding ring and it says "Forever with Me Now," and she inscribed the J and an M on the inside band of her wedding ring. So, like I said, it's definitely something that's tough to talk about. It's definitely
Right.
something that's tough to put into words, more or less. When you think about it, he is a player that changed the game of hockey in a certain sense, where he was undersized, he was always doubted. But then again, it isn't all about the hockey either. He was a father, he was a husband, so it goes farther than the game too. Obviously, it's getting a lot of news because of who it is, but
Right.
it just thinks that it happens no matter who it is.
And it's really just a reminder that the most minuscule of decisions that can change someone's life forever. So just remember that if you're going to get out, if you're going to go out, you're going to party, you're going to, we've all been there. I've definitely been there. Just make sure you're making the right decisions, man. Don't get behind the wheel of a car and ruin an entire family's life. Just miserable.
And especially with how many there's so many options when you're out on the town. If you're bar hopping, if you're doing whatever, there's so many options: taxis, Uber, Lyft, a friend, walk. I mean, so many things that can avoid such a tragedy. And the whole purpose of him playing in Columbus was he wanted to be where his family could see him play. And thankfully they got one or two, I believe, seasons of that, but cut way too short. So, Amanda, if you have anything you want to say before you transition us into the episode.
Just another cool thing that the NHL did, as someone who's like an avid NHL 24 player, they very quickly also put up a memorial to the brothers. And I just thought that was a super cool way to memorialize them. And we had seen everything online, but seeing it in the game wasn't something that I expected. And that was pretty awesome to see too. But I will go ahead and transition us. And this week we are going to give our predictions for the Metro Division and give our thoughts on the NHL Network's top 10 goalie list. But first, we're going to start with the NHL news.
All right. So we're all very sad, but now we're going to change gears. We're going to be happy. Hockey's coming.
It is. It's very
just
close.
Around the corner.
What is it? 34 days away? Something like that?
No, I think it's like 27.
What?
27, 26.
Isn't it October 10th?
October 4th.
Oh.
4th. They're the international.
No, that doesn't count. No, the opening season is October 10th.
Your team's playing, doesn't matter.
No,
it's 26 days.
The opening season is October 10th. Those international things. No, I'm not because you could watch preseason on this month, I think. So I'm not robbing anybody of anything. But the opening season October 10th is what I'm getting at.
All right, fine. One of the biggest things that I'm shocked about for player news is Thatcher Demko is supposedly not going to be ready to start the season, which is wild because he was like on the cusp of like if they go past the Oilers in round 2, he might be in round 3.
That's the playoffs, though. I mean, that's the playoffs. True. You know how that goes. They're not like an injury has to be substantial for that to take anybody out of the playoffs. Any one of those players, regardless of who it is. So this is probably going to be, just playing it safe, trying to get him ready, trying to get him going. Hopefully, he's going to be able to make it earlier in the season than later. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Like it's unfortunate for Vancouver to have this happen, have their star goalie. Are they going to go with Shilovs?
So supposedly he's also injured and may not be ready to go either.
Who is their backup?
Well, it was DeSmith, but we got him in a trade over the offseason, so.
Let me. I'm gonna look that up because I don't know who their backup is. That's that's unfortunate for them. I mean, with how they started off last season, how they ended it in the playoffs, you want them to come back strong, and without their number one or their number two, like how can they do that? They just
living on a prayer.
Yeah, they don't have. According to Puckpedia, they don't have anybody else. They've got Demko and Shilovs, and obviously they've got people in the minors, but I don't know who any of those guys are. So
yeah, we'll have to wait. We'll see what happens. The other big player news that was kind of interesting was Ryan Johansson. He was released by Philly for a material breach, and I didn't find much more than that. I don't know if anyone else did.
I just assumed that he was a material girl is all. No, I didn't find anything about that.
Yeah, well.
They made a big trade for him too, and then they just put him on waivers and said, screw this, we're done.
Yeah, it had to have been
I think it was more of a trade for Sean Walker, right? And then they got a first-round pick, and they had
to take
the salary back.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean,
we'll see where he goes.
Do you think he'll make a comeback?
Yeah, I'm sure someone would sign him.
I'll take him for $750. Nice ton of depth.
Yeah, I mean, you're not signing him because of the material breach thing,
right? I mean, if Corey Perry can get signed, he's probably going to get signed again too. So, I mean, maybe he'll end up in Edmonton.
I saw something like, not necessarily lying about a physical, but something with injury related where he didn't disclose something before they traded him, or like basically right after he got traded, he went on IR instead of going down to AHL. Something I could be totally making that up too, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere.
It could make sense that they're using the material breach thing as like a loophole of terminating his contract. Yeah. Well, we got some trades.
Says the worm, and he keeps on responding to the same exact comment. So you need to learn how to use a computer.
There were some trades and signings since our summer special episode. Columbus got out of the Patrick Laine contract, as they said they would. They sent him and a 2026 second round pick to Montreal, the suckers who took on his entire contract. In exchange for Jordan Harris. The end.
The biggest surprise about that entire thing is that Columbus didn't need to retain anything at all. Montreal was just like, sure, we'll take it. Why not?
Yeah, my feeling is that the second round pick had to be added for that.
I mean, you would need to compensate them somehow because he's getting paid like $8 million, isn't he?
Yeah, it's 8 something,
I think.
So, I mean, you got to compensate them.
We all made our predictions on where he might land, and one of the things I remember us talking about was he shouldn't go somewhere where there's a lot of attention. And of course, he went to Montreal, which is
at the same time, the expectations aren't that high,
right?
Either. You know what I mean? True. Like they're a young team. He can screw up and not really have to worry about it. He gets to play with skilled guys in Cole Caulfield and Lane Hudson, who I think is going to be a stud. I might put a future on the Calder for him. But like, it's just one of those things where I think it's a smart move to get a high value draft pick out of it, and it's about the money. They're basically trying to hit the cap floor, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway,
they are currently $2 million over the cap.
Oh, I'll just shut the hell up then.
So they got to figure something else out about that before the season starts. Obviously,
Weber on IR.
Is he still? I'm pretty sure he still is, isn't he?
I think he's the Utah boy now.
Oh, that's right.
They're sharing, I think, but it's really Carey Price. My goodness.
That too.
Oh yeah.
Jesse, you want to take the next one?
Sure. Nashville sent goaltender Yaroslav Askarov and Nolan Burke Nolan Burke and a 2025 third-round pick to San Jose for David Edstrom, Magnus Krona, which is a pretty sweet name, and a 2025 first-round pick. That pick is from Vegas, and if it is a top 10 pick, San Jose can keep it and give Nashville a different pick. I'm a little upset that Nashville got rid of Askarov, but they did just sign Stash. What's his name? Why can't I remember his name?
Saros.
Thank you. They did just sign Saros to that ridiculous contract. Askarov wants to play in the NHL, so it's not a surprise that he moved. It's just a little upsetting.
They also got Scott Wedgwood.
Why?
Backup.
Why?
Because he's good.
But, yeah. Were you going to say something? No.
I
mean,
okay, real quick. I was just gonna say Askarov. It was a showdown between him and what's his face?
Saros.
No. Nashville's.
We're obviously in tip-top form, everybody. Just
very Trotz.
Throwing
very
that
Trotz.
out there.
Very Trotz. It was a showdown. Trotz was like, "You better show up," and Askarov was like, "I'm not gonna show up." And so
But he said that in Russian.
Yeah, I think Nashville made the best of it.
I agree. They needed to do something with him. I mean, the dude's... I think the guy's an NHL caliber goaltender. It sucks that he went to San Jose. I think San Jose has made some kind of ridiculous moves in the offseason. I wonder where they're going to be come, a couple months in. But, yeah, unfortunate that Nashville had to get rid of him because I liked the guy. I think everyone liked the guy after the whole bench press celebration type thing that he did in Milwaukee.
San Jose is one of those teams where you're like unsure. They're so young, but they got some good pieces there. Celebrini and Will Smith and Askarov now. You got a couple other high-end draft picks, a couple defensemen there. I mean, they're not gonna go crazy by any means, but I don't think they're gonna be a top 5 pick next year.
No, I don't think so. And they still have some cap room too. They've got $10.4 million to work with, so they could still do something else.
Amanda, you wanna be all happy?
Yes, because I've been waiting for this all off season. So the Canes finally signed Seth Jarvis to an 8-year, $7.9 million contract, which is kind of what everyone was expecting, that they would use up the rest of their cap space for Seth Jarvis. I think this is an excellent signing. You're talking about a young kid. He's 22. This takes him until he's 30, who progressively gets better each year. Last year, not this past season, the season before, he only had 14 goals. This past season, he had 33 goals. So he's doubled it. If you put him on a line with Aho and Svech plays to the potential that we know he can, that's going to be a killer top line. So I was very excited about this signing.
I bet you were.
He really wear a bag of money shirt at his press conference.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And the Canes in pure Cane fashion and having the best shirt designs ever at putting that money bag shirt. And of course it would be Seth who wears it to his press conference talking about his signing.
Seth, we're on a first name basis now, Amanda, huh?
Exactly. Yes.
He has his phone number.
Of course.
What do you think about the value of this contract? Do you think that it's going to be? Do you think that it's going to in the long run, maybe 4 years, that it's going to be very valuable? Do you think that they overpaid? Do you think that they underpaid? What do you think?
I think he got, based off how he's playing and the projection, what he has shown since he started playing for the Canes back in 2021. I think this is going to be an excellent contract. Looking in just a couple of years, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, we got a steal for him at only 7.9. I really think he's going to be one of those lifer Canes that you'll just be like, yes. When you think Canes, you think Seth Jarvis.
So that's wild about this is you look back on this and the Toronto Maple Leafs traded that pick that turned out to be Seth Jarvis, Patrick Marleau, and a 7th-round draft pick. They acquired that from the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for a 6th-round draft pick to get salary cap relief. Basically, imagine if they actually had Seth Jarvis in Toronto. It just makes me so happy. Like they can't even get out of their own way, and I love it. I really, really do. So
Continuously.
nice work, Don Waddell. Yes.
Just not taking into account the length of the contract, although most of these players are pretty much in the same ballpark. Here's just a few players that are getting paid more than Seth Jarvis. Tell me if you'd rather have Seth Jarvis or one of these guys. Sean Couturier, Elish Lindholm, Kuznetsov. Well, he's not there anymore. Nick Suzuki, JT Miller, Logan Couture, Jack Hughes, Ryan Johansson, Steven Stamkos, Thomas Hurdle, Rupe Hintz, Leon Draisaitl. I mean, obviously, yeah, but he's ranked 39th in terms of the cap hit. So
it's pretty impressive.
I'd say it's a steal, almost,
for sure,
as long as he keeps it up and just keeps progressing. Tyler Seguin's somewhere up on that list too.
For 8 years too. Locked in for 8 years. So think about it, 4 or 5 years down the road, where the cap is another $16 million. I love these long-term deals, especially for the players. They make their money. But like, think about it. I think Jake Sanderson, the defenseman from Ottawa, just got 8x8, and it's like I'd much rather have Seth Jarvis. Different positions, obviously, but still.
Nicholas Backstrom, $9.2 million.
Yeah, I'll stick with Seth and that price point because again, you're talking about a kid who went from 17 goals to 14 to 33. Like he's and playing with Aho especially too, like those two.
And he's only 22. Yeah, that's great.
Exactly.
It's a win.
As long as Fetch can stay healthy.
And what's great for the Canes is for the first 1, 2, 3, 4 years, if for some reason they want to get rid of him, they can. In that 5th year, there is a modified no trade clause that kicks in. But if something happens, they have the ability to get out from under that contract pretty easily as well.
Yeah.
Cass, do you hate Toronto or something?
With every bone in my body. Like a lot of Bruins fans, they say like Montreal's the real like rival, but I'm a younger generation Bruins fan, and all I've seen is beating Toronto 2013 down 4-1. This year, overtime goal, it just makes me all warm and fuzzy. It almost makes me forget about the Panthers,
It must be nice having 2 rivals that just aren't great in the playoffs. Or one doesn't even
according
make
to you, the San Jose Sharks are original 6 too, so.
Hey, they are. Them and the Ducks. Speaking of who cares, Cash, you want to talk about Tyler Johnson?
No, I'm going to tell you that the Bruins actually made a major signing on a PTO. Fortunately, it's not the Jeremy Swayman signing we were hoping for, but I don't hate this one bit. A PTO for Tyler Johnson, a 2-time Stanley Cup winner, who I think will gel very well in that room with all the veterans that are there already. And obviously, as everyone knows, and always gets brought up, the Bruins are very light on center depth. So even if this kid plays the third, I can see him fitting in the third line. Oh no, I'm sorry, because we got Elias Lindholm now, so it'd be Elias Lindholm, probably Charlie Coyle, and if they put Zoc on the wing, then I could see him fitting in as a third line center. And if he gets, obviously we don't know yet what Jeremy Swayman's going to make, but I'm thinking it'll come in at 10 or under. I saw that the Bruins offered him like a $6.2 million deal, and it's like, get the hell out of here. I think he's asking for way more than that. So if it comes in under 9, I'll be happy. But I'm rambling, but I don't mind this one bit. I really don't.
Have there been, I hate to bring it away from Tyler Johnson, but has there been any rumor or discussion or anything at all that's come out about Swayman?
Cam Neely has Torn upside down and it'll get done before training camp, but that's right around the corner. So I don't know if I believe that. Jeremy Swayman is at captain's practice this week, so that's a good sign. And again, Jeremy Swayman understands what he's worth, and he understands where the salary cap's going. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're like, oh my gosh, that's too much. But think about it, in 8 years, the cap could be up another $30 million. So he understands that, and he's still very sour about last year's arbitration. This whole thing reminds me of when the Bruins played the game with Tuukka Rask, where they're like, "You're going to be on a 1-year prove it deal. You're going to be on a 1-year prove it deal," and he crushed both those years, and then they had to pay him 7 by 7. So I would not be surprised at all if he's. I'm just hoping it's below double $1 million digits, if that makes sense. If it's at 10 mil, it's going to be like. But then again, if you look at the top 10 goalie rankings, which we will, he's starting for Team USA on that list. Oh, I could eat this.
At what point do you start to get worried about it?
Obviously, you want him. The fact that he's still practicing and skating, it doesn't make me as worried. And as you'll hear people say, the goalie coach for Boston has worked miracles on some goalies. So I do think Corpusalo is going to have a good season. Do I want him starting? No. But if this becomes an issue, I think the Bruins can get by for a little while. But I'm still hoping it's done before the end of
So
the
are
month.
you worried if it's like the week before the opening game?
No, not necessarily. There's 82 games to figure it out. So.
Well,
you guys are
As
at
long as
8
he's playing in the Four Nations tournament.
You guys are at 8.6 million right now in projected cap space, so hopefully you're able to figure that out.
Speaking of big money,
Big
Edmonton,
money.
They've extended Leon Draisaitl to an $8 by $14 million extension, and that just makes me think it better work with him and Connor, because if not, it sounds like Connor's the guy to go. Although they're probably going to sign both of them in the end.
Probably. I mean, did anyone expect Draisaitl to not make big money?
Well,
no.
With Edmonton, there was a time.
That's true.
At this time last year, we were talking about one of them's going to end up going.
That's true. I do remember that. Yeah.
But gosh, man, I mean, they committed hard. Let's see, McDavid. It's 2 years. 2026, 2027 is when he's a UFA.
Yeah, and then Draisaitl doesn't kick in until next season, so they still have some room to work with there. But
14.
I mean, with how close they came last season to the Cup, I think that it's this year. If it's not this year for them, then they're gonna have to figure something out, because how much further can you push this?
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. It makes me scared because it's like, are they that close? Because it seems like they are, but at the same time, it's Edmonton. It's Canada.
I mean, they made it to the Stanley Cup final. None of our teams made it to the Stanley Cup final, so we can't really talk that much shit about them. But how often, how many times over the last couple of years has it been, this is Edmonton's year, this is Edmonton's year? They're oftentimes the favorites to win the cup in the gambling odds, and the closest they get is the Stanley Cup final, and they won one game against them, 2 games, I don't remember.
3.
Oh, was it 3?
3-0, and they came back and.
Oh, that's right. Yes, how did I forget that? Obviously, once again, we're in tip-top shape.
The other thing is, too, like, you look at the East, and it's like 2 or 3 teams that might make it to the final. In the West, you got Dallas, you got Vegas, you got Colorado, you got Edmonton. Now we can kind of throw in Vancouver in there. Like, that's a way tougher conference, in my opinion, to get out of.
It has been.
In the Cup Finals, you know what I mean? And then you're worried about getting banged up and stuff like that, which for the most part they were healthy, I think. But Just imagine if Poops worked out for them. Like, it would have been great. Not anymore.
It's all dependent on, is Skinner going to play like he did in the playoffs? Or is he going to be like a Hill type guy for Vegas, where it's like, whoa, he played really good in the playoffs and then just broke down? We'll see. We'll get there. But
Cat, he is up after 25-26. Yes, for re-signing.
Some other news: Chicago's 2025 Winter Classic jersey came out.
Did it?
I don't know if it was a leak or if it was like an official reveal.
I didn't see this,
but I think it looks pretty cool. It looks very throwbacky.
I'm trying to find it. I have not seen it. So,
let me see.
Where did you find it?
I saw it on.
It was
Athletics. Yeah. I think it was.
For some reason, for the
Thanks,
most
Kat.
part, to me, all their jerseys basically look the same.
Okay.
Hater,
the Bruins jerseys.
Don't hate.
Yeah, look it up.
They still haven't said if they're going back to the other ones or not.
Oh yeah, I think I liked the new ones. But yeah, Jesse, look them up. We don't have them to show the stream right now. But
Kat says she posted it on Freeze the Puck Hockey. I have not been paying attention to any of you all summer. I'm not gonna lie. I have ignored every one of you all summer long, and I'm probably gonna keep doing it until the season starts. So, just letting you know.
On October 4th,
October 10th. I will maybe be back October 10th full time. But until then,
controversy. Okay?
Until then,
it's a controversy. Speaking of controversies, though, AHL, they are making neck guards mandatory.
Is this a controversy?
I personally don't like that it's mandatory.
Why?
Because it's such a rash go-to. Why not just start?
Someone
with
died.
More. Yeah.
Someone died.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand where they're coming from as the league. I think that, a minor league has the ability to do that. I think in the NHL, if they made it mandatory, it would be a little rash of a decision.
But someone died.
Right. I agree. I agree with you. But the NHL.
So shame on the NHL.
That's not what I'm saying. You're just putting words in my mouth at this point. And this is why I've ignored you all summer.
What makes it interesting to me is, for example, in the AHL and in the NHL, unless you've been grandfathered in, you have to wear a visor. There are a few players who were grandfathered in. So if one of those players go to the AHL, they are allowed to play without a visor. What will be interesting is how this neck guard will apply for NHL players who go down to the AHL, whether it's like not guys who came up for a period of time and now they're going back to the AHL, but just going to the AHL for like a recovery stint, whatever it is. That will be interesting to me. The other interesting aspect about it for AHL is the AHL also requires their players to wear CCM helmets because of a deal they have with CCM. If this comes out that the neck guards are CCM neck guards only, that makes me like,
yeah, that's a little peculiar.
But I don't know. I personally am interested to see how this will work because you'll also have AHL players who come up and play in the NHL who will have had some time with the neck guards. And they're obviously going to talk to NHLers about it because NHLers are going to ask, hey, what's it like in anticipation of the NHL doing this? And you're either going to see NHL players start wearing them more. I know like Anze Kopitar, I think, is one of the players who's been wearing one. But even just other players, if they hear from AHL players, hey, this is okay, I can play fine with it. You might see NHL players start playing with it more. On the flip side, you might see an AHL player come up and they're like, oh, thank goodness I can take this off.
True. Do you think that we'll hear about that though? I don't think so.
I don't think we'll hear about it. I think it's just something I'm gonna watch for fun.
I think we're going to see more players wearing them, only because where I work, there's an ice skating rink, and there was a notice saying that all the kids in the league are required now to wear neck guards. And so I think you're getting these younger kids who are going to be used to wearing them. And for the ones who do progress, that's just going to be what's standard for them, what they're used to. So I think eventually we're going to see it trickle more. It might take a couple years because, I mean, these are the tiny kids we're talking about, but it's what they're going to be used to. So I think eventually we're just going to see it become the norm.
Kyle's asking in the chat, does the NHLPA have any say in it? Like what you said about the recovery period, I'm sure they do. I'm sure that if the NHL is going to try and make it mandatory, the PA will have a say in it because they want to hear from what the players will say.
So what I'm reading is the NHL themselves cannot make it mandatory. However, in conjunction with the PA, they can. It has to be both together. It can't just be a unanimous decision by the NHL.
Now, I think what Kyle's getting at, because he mentions the recovery period, I think he's alluding to what I was saying about, like, if a NHL player goes down to the AHL for a recovery stint, does the NHLPA have say in if the AHL can make them use one? And
I'm trying to find something, and I can't currently.
I don't think they can, but typically the AHL does make exceptions if you are an established NHL player, such as with the visor thing, or even with the CCM helmet thing. If you are an established NHL player and you get sent to the AHL for a period of time, and it's like you're going to be going back to the NHL, they're not going to make you wear a CCM helmet.
Yes. It's probably going to be one of those things where it's like, you want to play in the 2030 Olympics, you're going to have to wear neck guards. You know? Yeah. NHL. Get that way.
Who wants to take the PWHL stuff?
So, it seems like we're going to be getting some new team names, new branding from the PWHL on Monday. And we've talked about this a little bit. They changed some things up on I think on their social medias. They're trying to make it a little bit of a hype for it. And the team names are what we discussed, or allegedly, are what we discussed previously. I think we've got the Toronto Torch, the Montreal Echo, the Ottawa Alert, the Minnesota Superior, the Boston Wicked, and the New York Sound. I hate all of these names. They're awful. And if that's what you're going to go with, God help that league. I just don't know how you could brand that. I don't know how you could brand that.
The New York Sound. I'm walking here.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be.
The New York Sound.
It's just going to be a bunch of expletives. Can I get a bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup on a bagel? And I'm walking here. That's what it's going to be. I don't know.
I was really hoping that maybe on Monday they might announce an expansion too, whether it's 2 or 3 more teams, because they were pretty damn successful their first year in the league, especially with in the PWHL final. Boston Wicked is not the worst, Kyle. Go to hell.
It's pretty bad.
It's the most appropriate.
It's pretty bad.
It's fitting.
I think it's very fitting. I'm hoping they also have jerseys that are not just.
I think they will.
Yeah,
I think they will.
Too. They've had a year plus.
Tyson says they are middle school. Tyson says they are middle school boys' body spray scents, and I absolutely agree with him.
Why don't we just let Tyson say that to our faces?
Oh, do we have to?
Tyson's here with us.
Boston Wicked.
Is he?
As we go into the Metro Division
let me
predictions.
Let me unmute him.
He claims to be a Pittsburgh Penguins fan.
All right, Tyson. Hi, Tyson. He's here.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, unfortunately.
And now Cass and I will let Jesse, Tyson, and Amanda duke it out about the Metro Division.
The Rangers are going to win it again, and I don't really care about the rest of them.
I mean, you could have
I
the
kind of
division title.
actually
That's
agree.
fine.
Well, the division title's like not a big deal.
Doesn't
The
mean
President's
anything.
Trophy is what
Right.
matters, and I mean, that's what's the big deal, you know.
Jesse said he
It's
wanted
okay.
it,
You
so
don't
it's
have to
like,
worry
go
about being
ahead.
over 500. Never mind.
He said that
the
last
division
year,
of
and then he
500.
realized he said that he wanted the President's Trophy last year, and then he realized that everybody was right about it. Now he doesn't want it this year.
I don't
Inaccurate.
recall. I don't recall any of those events happening.
You sound like Justin Bieber at his deposition. I don't recall. Yeah, don't.
I plead the fifth, which is what everyone should
You
do.
watch his
That's
deposition.
fine.
Tyson, did you just admit you watched Justin Bieber's deposition?
Okay, first of all, if you haven't seen it, it's one of the most memeable pieces that I've ever seen in my life, and I don't recall is a fantastic answer for a deposition. So write that down.
I wouldn't disagree with
Kyle
you.
says, can't wait for Boston to leave in the first round again. It sounds like Kyle's a closet Toronto fan. Kind of salty.
Remind me, who was the first one to exit in the Western Conference round one? Was that Vegas?
It
was
was.
Vegas.
It was
Yeah,
Vegas.
yeah, that was Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, they're hurt
Boston
and
made
stuff,
it.
you know.
Boston made it to the second round last year. So get it right, Kyle.
Kyle says, "Oof." We're gonna talk about the Metro Division on this episode. We're gonna break it down, Degeneration X style, moving forward the next couple of weeks. We're gonna talk about the Metro. We're gonna talk about the other divisions as we go on. I will not be here next week because I'm going. Oh wait, am I gonna be here? We're doing it on Saturday, right?
The week after.
It's the week after that I'm not going to be here because I'm unfortunately going back to New York. So I don't remember what division we're going to be talking about then, but
Pacific is next week. Central, then Central, and then Atlantic. No, I'm sorry. We're doing Metro, Pacific, Atlantic, Central.
that makes sense because I didn't want to talk about the Atlantic Division. That is 100% correct. So last season, the breakdown for the teams, the Rangers won the division. Carolina was right behind them. The Islanders made it into the playoffs for whatever reason. Washington, Pittsburgh, Philly. Jersey ended up a lot lower than I anticipated at all season. And then we had the Columbus Blue Jackets all the way at the bottom there. I think that Jersey is going to make a much bigger push this season. I think they may have figured out their issues in net. I think Pittsburgh might try and stay in the mix for the wild card spot there, but I don't really see much anything else changing.
Do we want to go through the list from top to bottom or bottom to top?
From the top to the bottom, Linkin Park style, I guess.
All right. By the way, they're
no, let's not talk
reuniting
about
with
it.
The new singer.
Terrible,
Okay.
terrible.
The New York Rangers are obviously they were first last year. They ended the season with a record of 55
They sound
wins,
horrible.
23 losses, and 4 overtime losses.
Brutal.
114 points.
Yeah, and
Where do they?
Again, I don't really think that much is going to change from that. It's going to be Rangers, Carolina in the mix all season for the first overall spot in the division, I think.
I think it's going to be. I think the Carolina Hurricanes are going to take a step back because they moved all over themselves in free agency and lost at least 2.
Well, wait. Before we go to
January.
Carolina, with New York though, they had more subtractions than additions. They did add Riley Smith and Sam Carrick, but they did lose Barclay Goodrow,
Fine,
Jack Roslovic,
fine,
Alex Winberg,
Fine.
Okay, fine. Blake Wheeler,
fine,
Eric Gustafson.
fine. I don't think that any of those guys leaving is going to change the dynamic of that team at all.
Nick Bonino.
And they got rid of him. They put him on waivers in last season.
Being sarcastic.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh.
I don't think the Rangers lost anything. That's not. I don't think the talent that moved on. They're all role players. It's all bottom six, bottom tier defense players that have moved on. I think the Rangers are pretty well going to move into the season the same way they did last year. Honestly, You know, as long as Shesterkin shows up, I know he had a big slump in the middle of last year's season. I think if he shows up and plays pretty well the same way he did last year, I think they're going to be just about the same. So I think you can expect that they're gonna continue to do what they did the same exact way.
And a big important piece of that is if how Jonathan Quick is going to perform too, because he had an outstanding season as backup last season. When he was called upon, he won the games that he needed to win. He won a lot of those games that you didn't expect them to win either.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you I mean, you probably follow like their farm teams and stuff like that. Like, what does their goalie pool look like? Like, do you think that Jonathan Quick is going to be there? That's not a long-term solution. Back up Shesterkin. I think he's a good one, but like he's old. He's going to leave eventually. So like, what does their pool look like? What can they do? What can you expect the next year or two?
I don't really know. I don't really follow the Hartford Wolfpack too much. They've got Louis Domingue down there. They've got a couple other guys that I haven't really heard of. Right now it seems like Quick is it, and if they're going to try and find somebody else, it's going to be an NHL guy who's out of a contract that they can get for cheap. I don't think they're going to be able to call up anybody from AHL.
Louis was you got him from Pittsburgh, right? And like,
yes.
So he did pretty decent for Wilkes-Barre. So I think that if he had enough support, I think he's not a Quick, he's an option. So obviously you're not looking for after Shesterkin because he's kind of, I feel like, if not in his prime, reaching his prime. So
it depends on how much they're going to have to pay him on that next contract, which is up after this season. There's rumor that he wants a shitload of money.
Well, he should get it, but like I don't like to do like I like to look at the league in total, but he reminds me of almost like a Marc-Andre Fleury type situation where like he's so good that it's hard to prepare for what you're going to do after him. As Nashville, you don't want to upset your star player.
So was Lundqvist, though.
Upset your number one goalie. But he was aging. He was aging.
Right.
He was going to leave eventually. So right. Shesterkin was just patient enough to fill in the spot. And is it like
my point with that? I guess is like how could you replace Henrik Lundqvist? You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at. It's like how were you able to replace Henrik Lundqvist, and then all of a sudden Shesterkin showed up and did his thing, and it's like, oh, this is the next generation of New York Rangers goaltending. They've always had pretty dominant goaltending. I think there was like a period in the early 2000s before Lundqvist where it was like I didn't even watch because I was like, these guys are just miserable to watch. I mean, they've been miserable to watch, but
So is the consensus New York's number one in the Metro?
So when I wrote my numbers down, I looked at last year's. I looked at the movement from last year to this year. I have the Rangers written down as winning the Metro.
Cass?
We're going to go over our list after, right? Like one by one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we could do that.
Let's do it after. So
you want to? You tell me the format. That's what I have. I have the Rangers winning the Metro.
As I'm sure you've heard, we're in tip-top shape this episode. So, we're all on the same page. We all know what we're talking about.
So next on our list is the Carolina Hurricanes, or Amanda's Carolina Hurricanes. They finished the season with 52 wins, 23 losses, 7 overtime losses, and 111 points, just 3 points behind New York. Their subtractions and additions, they added William Carrier, Tyson Jost, Eric Robinson, Eric Robinson, Jack Roslovic, Shane. Someone else want to read it? Amanda, you want to read the list?
That's fair.
Okay, and Sean Walker.
That's fair.
They subtracted Jake Gunsel.
You nailed Walker. I'll give you that one.
Thank you. Evgeny Kuznetsov, Mr. Russia, Stefan Noersen. Yeah, Nosen. It's Nosen.
There's the R in that.
Nason.
Nasal.
I'm so far away from the screen. Tuvo Teravainen, Dylan Coughlin.
Avo.
We should have let the Carolina Hurricanes fan. We should have let the Carolina Hurricanes fan
just read
the
it.
List.
Just Tony D'Angelo, Brett Pesci, and Brady
Shea. Brady Shea.
Yep.
TDA? Oh no! Oh no! TDA's gone.
I do.
That is obviously the most heartbreaking loss, Tyson.
You're fucked. You're screwed. Absolutely screwed. TDA's
We
gone.
really
You're
are.
done. Team's over. Sell the squad. They're gone. Send them back to Hartford.
No, we're
But
moving to Atlanta. Didn't you hear?
oof.
Go Thrashers. Yep.
Bring them back.
Wow.
Bring them back.
Yeah, I'll just go real quick, and I'll be because I don't have much to say. Carolina's taking a step back for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. You could say that they may have taken a step back, and I don't disagree with you. The people that they lost were pretty significant in that roster. But who in the Metro Division is going to step up in that place? Because I don't think anybody in the Metro Division has made any significant. Well, okay. The Devils can make a push for second
absolutely.
in the division, but anyone else,
100%.
it's going to be Rangers, Devils, Carolina, regardless of how that order plays out.
It's gonna be Rangers, Islanders, and then potentially.
Come on,
but like any team, and speaking from experience, any team that gets rid of Jake Gensel is immediately taking a massive step backwards. And I think losing Teravainen is a big loss. That's they're what they lose. I think moves them back, and I actually wrote them down as third, believe it or not. But I just don't think they got better in the off season. Don't even know that they stayed the same because they finished second last year, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know that they didn't get better in my opinion, and I think what they lost was way more detrimental, and all they got was kind of role players, so they stayed the same and not the same, but worse in my opinion.
I think it really depends on how these guys mesh with the team. As far as Gensel, we wanted Gensel. That was his choice to not re-sign with the Canes. The one for me that hurts the most is losing Shea, because you're talking about a
Agreed.
defenseman who I think he had 31 goals last year. Was a huge part of the offense as a defensive man. To me, that was the biggest loss out of everyone. Dylan Coughlin, we affectionately call him our cheerleader because he was constantly benched. So it was one of those like, I go cheerlead for another team. It was Shea who was the big one. Shea and Tavo that were just like, oh, this sucks.
And the goalies. The goalies situation needs to get better.
That has been a constant problem since Cam Ward was our number one way back long ago. We haven't had a consistent number one goalie since the Cam Ward era.
Freddie was looking good. I mean, he was lights out, and then it just became playoff hockey, and it was just way too much, way too fast. But he could be it.
Do you think
it depends on what side of Freddie we get?
Do you think they're going to use Kochetkov more this year?
I hope so. That kid needs more ice time. Really, if you're expecting him to be the future of the Canes goalie team, tandem, whatever, you need to give him more time on the ice.
I think they're the best actual example of like a 2A, 2B goalie tandem.
Yeah.
No offense. But if like Olmark Swayman was 1A, 1B, I think you've got a 2A, 2B.
They're like the Eastern Conference Minnesota Wild. They don't do anything for me. They're not going to do anything for playoffs.
Well, they're a little better than the Wild.
Thank you.
They'll at least make the playoffs. Unlike the Wild.
I'm optimistic that they at least plateau and stay the same. I'm not expecting like for them to get better, unfortunately, as like a realistic fan. I just hope it's not.
They won't make the second round this year. They will not make the second round.
I was not asking your opinion, Kat. Thank you.
So Freddie Anderson is 34, and obviously a goalie is an anchor in a team. Do you think at 34, like with his injury history, that he's going to be able to like be the guy in Carolina and hold him? I mean, like, what type of backup situation is there beyond Kochetkov to even do that. And I don't feel
They
like
have Spencer Martin.
I don't. Oh, right. Sorry, Game Breaker. I don't feel
Breaker.
like Kochetkov is a consistent enough goalie to take over somebody whose standard performance is as high as Freddie Anderson. So like, have you seen anything that like in their media that Kochetkov is progressing or getting better or more consistent, or do you have any faith in the goaltending coming into this year?
She never does. She never has. I'll speak for
How
you.
can you? And that's what I mean. So
All right.
like that's my question with Carolina's, and I have them at third on by the skin of their teeth.
And again, I like to think I'm a realistic Canes fan. Like, yes, I bleed for the team, but like also realistically looking at what we have on the roster, especially when it comes to our goaltending, you don't know what you're gonna get with Freddie.
Yeah.
Post blood clot issues, holy crap. You had an amazing goalie. Like he won most of the games he played in, and then it just kind of like got up to him. I do think ideally he would be an amazing backup goalie if we had
That's
a good
not
center. But
well.
And then as far as Kochetkov, I haven't seen anything recently as to like what his projection is. That's another I think he just needs more ice time is to really get a good sense.
I think
of
they
how
should
he's going
split
to
it
play.
50-50.
I think they need to. I think they need to because if
I'm good with that.
you'd kind of be damned if you don't give him the ice time that he needs, because he needs to get into form. He needs to figure out what he's doing. But then on the other token, if you're playing Anderson too much and he gets
How many
injured,
games did he play last year? How many plays did he play last year? Did he play 30 plus?
Kochetkov?
No, Anderson.
Kochetkov
How
or
many games?
played. I have it pulled up.
I don't know how to
Kochetkov
spell his last name.
played 42 games.
Oh shit. Okay, and what was his percentage?
He
Terrible.
ended with a .910.
That's not I mean,
No, that's good.
that's I mean, that's fantastic actually. I mean, 40 how many games? 42 games? Half, I mean, a
42
little over half the
games.
season.
And then Freddie played
16. I have that.
16 games.
And he was undefeated in those 16. Or
Um,
is that also with playoffs?
No, that's just regular
Sorry,
season.
regular season.
Oh, I thought he was
regular
undefeated
season.
in those.
no, he won 13.
Oh, pretty dang close.
much.
Still pretty good. Damn.
And then
Well,
the rest
I mean, okay.
was,
Well, so then, go ahead. I'm sorry, Amanda.
oh, you're good. Then the rest was played. We had some by Spencer Martin. He played 6. It's kind of spread out all over the place.
Yeah, it was just like a crapshoot for the others.
It was bad enough that we had to pull our ECHL goalie at one point and dress him.
So
that's how bad.
I guess I didn't realize that Kochetkov had such a game load with 42. Like, when you watch 82 games, it doesn't feel like 42 was there. So, I mean, if he had that kind of consistency in 42 games, like, I mean, what you obviously hope that transfers over, but Freddie Anderson's probably going to get the starter position. Do you feel like that's accurate?
Yes, absolutely. As a veteran, Chekhov also, I adore watching him play. Chekhov also has to learn how to play because he goes for the pokes, which is amazing when they work. It makes for such a good highlight reel, and when it doesn't, it is pretty darn terrible. He still needs to He still needs to figure out where that balance is.
If you have a goalie that can play the puck, it's incredible. I mean, you have another forward on the ice, it's amazing. But if you have a guy that's not quite set to that, it's going to be a problem. So I can see that. I guess what I need to do is watch some more Canes games coming through the season.
No, you don't.
Absolutely. Yes, you
a little
do.
more attention.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you want to be educated, I think it's an interesting thing to watch. I think if Freddie's hurt within the first month or two of the season, then you probably don't have a lot to tune into because I feel like you're just going to have the same thing you did last year.
I think I'm on board with what Jesse was saying as well. Like, I think you split them. You just do the 2A, 2B thing. And
you have to.
Like Jesse was kind of getting to, you're damned if you don't, and you're not damned if you do. So I think that's where you were eventually going with that, Jesse.
You have to. Yeah. There's no other option there.
Yeah.
So.
What do you have to lose, though? You know what I mean? Worst case scenario, Freddie gets hurt and you start Kucherov anyway. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but then he's going to be playing every game at that point.
No, you have Spencer Martin. We covered that first part of this conversation. You need to keep up here.
Right.
I think
the game breakers.
Closing in closing remarks for the Canes, I think they'll either stay the same, maybe drop a bit depending on the goalie and these new people added to the roster. A little bow on it.
And hope Spencer Martin doesn't get in that net.
Hope for your life.
He's got potential.
He was fine.
Yeah, just keep both your goalies healthy. Just keep them both healthy.
What's your expectation for the season?
What'd you say,
expectations for?
I thought we were doing that at the end.
I'm just I want to know like if she thinks they're gonna. Oh. Obviously, you probably think they're gonna make playoffs. You think they're gonna make it around the two, or you think they're just gonna get smacked?
I say second round, optimistically.
Good luck.
Moving on, we have the
right. Yeah, let's clip that.
The New York Islanders, they finished the season with 39 wins, 27 losses, and 16 overtime losses with 94 points at the end of it all. They did make the playoffs, and
they got smacked around.
Sweeped out.
They did. Did they? Yeah, they did.
They tried.
No, wait, no, they didn't. They won a game.
No, they won a game. They won game 4.
Oh,
yeah, they won game 4.
Yeah, that's right.
It was Washington that got swept out.
They were only playing your team.
That's right. They did add Anthony Duclair, great player.
Agreed.
And Liam Foudy. They also lost the famous Aho.
The other
Sebastian Aho.
The other famous
Which version Aho?
Not this season.
I think they got better.
Well,
I mean, Duclair, yeah.
No.
Duclair is great.
I like him a lot. I hope that the Rangers
would love
are going
to
pick
have
him up.
Duclair.
I think a lot of it fringes on Sorokin. I think the entire team depends on Sorokin, and I've said it before in previous podcasts. I think they play the most boring form of hockey I've ever seen in my entire life.
Miserable to watch.
But it's smart if you think about it, because it's all about puck control. And if you have defensemen who can help you and forwards that can, circulate the puck, then you're in okay position. But to me, when I watch them, when they lose it, it's hard for them to recover. That's okay if you have somebody like Sorokin. And I think their season depends on what version of Sorokin you get. That being said, I did write them down as second in the Metro.
Second?
What?
Second. I did. I think they're going to be a surprise. And I maybe, and I'm okay with being wrong with that, but something tells me with the addition of Duclair, I know that that's not a lot, but I feel like with his addition and the offensive side of things and the way that he handles the puck, I think it'll mix things up with the way the Islanders handle the bottom side of their top 6. I think that'll mix it up just a little bit. I think that if you have a decent Sorokin, then you will win the games that you need to win. And I think at the end of it, their point tally will add up to where they're second in the Metro.
You also have the Penguins as first in the Metro?
I wrote them down way less than that, and to be honest with you, I'm not comfortable with how high I rank them.
I want whatever Tyson is smoking, because it's much better than anything that I could find here in Washington.
I'm only drinking.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
It's pumpkin beers and nicotine vapes. So
we can't talk about the Penguins before we talk about the Capitals, obviously. So first, let's talk about the team who was better. The Washington Capitals.
No, we're still talking.
What?
We're done with the Islanders.
That was enough.
I think they got better.
Their
if
play is boring.
disagrees.
The conversation. I
Yeah.
think I think they got better, and I think
Yeah.
I think they will scrounge up enough points to be second in the Metro. I think that's reasonable. I don't think that's I don't think that's crazy. Why is that?
I feel
why
like
is that
they're
crazy?
wasting Matty Barzal's career there. I wish Matty Barzal was somewhere else where he could actually flourish.
Yeah,
Well,
I
yeah,
agree.
you could talk about that with any player on the Islanders team, honestly, because
Sorokin.
the hockey they play is so boring.
Or
but
bad.
Sorokin, I think, is a top. He's higher than top 10. He's probably top 6 or 7 goalies in the league, and I think that like if you have a team in front of him, that can manage the puck, then I think you have a team that can scrape it together. I really don't think that's crazy. I don't think that that's so crazy.
No, I don't think anyone's saying they're good. Cass, are you saying you think the Islanders got
He's
worse?
skeptical. He's skeptical.
So.
Look at it. Look at his face. He's so skeptical.
They didn't get worse by any means, but how many other teams are going to be better where they're not going to make it?
Yeah.
In the Metro, I don't.
I think the Metro's. I think the Metro's so. You have him 5th in the Metro?
Correct.
We'll talk about that later. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's so tight. I think it's so tight when you add players like Duclair to the Islanders. I think it's so. I think the Metro is literally so tight that it's hard to predict, for one, but two, that if you make such a small change to teams, it can make a big impact to those. And I think adding a player, I don't think Duclair is the game breaker, but I think he's a great example. I think it changes the way that they play the game. I think it's a little bit quicker in how they play their offense. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I hope I'm wrong.
I agree with what you're saying. I agree.
I also think we need to give Patrick Waugh a full season and see what he can do with the team.
True.
Sure.
True. Okay. That's just ready to be done with that.
Kat says,
I hate every team in the Metro. I hope I'm wrong.
Kat says that's how boring the Islanders are. Amanda just left, so
They're
let's move on from them.
Boring.
They really
so
are.
Boring.
They lock it
the
down.
Washington Capitals. They finished the season with 40 wins, 31 losses, and 11 overtime losses, ending the season with 91 points.
And Ovechkin only needs 40-something goals to beat Gretzky's record. That's the main thing.
The year that it could happen. Probably this. Man.
So does it? Let's
he's gonna
take a
do
quick.
it.
Do we all think that Ovechkin can score? What's the number? 40? I think it's 42. Is the number. 42. But do we think Ovechkin can score enough goals to break Gretzky's record this season?
I would like to first point out that it was this panel of people who talked about if he would do it in a Capitals jersey. And I was the only person who said yes, because he had such a bad start. But then he turned it on.
He did.
All-Star game break, he's like, oh, I finally didn't have to play in this game. I can actually concentrate on the second half of the season.
He is 41 goals.
Do I think
how many goals? And he had and Amanda, how many goals did he have last year?
Amanda's not here.
Amanda's not here.
Oh, I know. That's why I asked.
He had, pulling it up right now, he had 31.
31? Look at that memory.
Yeah, so it probably won't be this year. It'll be next year.
I think
which is the last year of his contract.
I think it's gonna be this year. He had such a slow first half. It's crazy. Like, I'll bet you 20 of those.
Sorry, Cass. I'm sorry. Go ahead. That's me. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No. Please. You were.
Someone, please.
I was gonna say. I think about 20 of those goals came after the All-Star break, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He just turned the Jets on. I wouldn't
be surprised to be right. Yeah. I mean, he's got Pierre-Luc Dubois feeding him instead of Dylan Strome. So.
Yeah, but Tyson, before you ask your question, I was just going to read those. The additions, they got Jacob Chikrin, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Andrew Mangiapane, Logan Thompson, Matt Roy, Brandon Duhaime, Taylor Radish, and then they lost Darcy Kemper, Nick Jensen, Beck Mallinston, and Nicholas Abe Kubel.
I think of
Kareem
all of
Abdul-Jabbar.
all of the Metropolitan teams, I think the Capitals made the best changes.
Yeah.
No, I think they got significantly better. I think that with the tightness the way the Metro is, that it's going to be hard for them. That being said, I had them. Should I go over this later? I'll go over this later. I think they got a lot better in their positioning with the signings that they had, and I was actually really surprised how aggressive they got. But a little interesting to see Darcy Kemper leave. I felt like he was pretty standard or pretty solid in their goaltending, and I thought that would be kind of a wing they would want to keep or a branch they'd want to keep.
I think they, with the effort that
Charlie Lindgren, go ahead.
Right. No, that's exactly what I was going to say. Charlie Lindgren is the one, I think, for them.
At $1 million, I think.
1.1.
Into 5 point something.
So,
and that price, I would,
and they've got Logan Thompson to back him up for the next year. So I think that I think this season they've got the goaltending duo locked in, and if they can make something happen with that, then they can go pretty far in this division.
So
that's not a bad, like 1A and 1B goaltender tandem when you think about it either. Like I know Lindgren isn't a household name, but Logan Thompson was hot for a while, and you get them both under $2 million. It's kind of mind blowing when you think of it that way, and that's why it doesn't hurt so much. $8 point something million contract for PA was just the timing that kind of sucks.
Yeah, no, I didn't think about it. Like that's a pretty good. I mean, like that's a decent budget tandem that you can run. I mean, why put it all on one when you can swap it over? I mean, you have a lot of experience and viewpoints on seeing how Boston handled that type of situation. And they obviously had way better talents to kind of make that decision with. I mean, I think they would be kind of crazy not to run a tandem, the 1A, 1B situation on that.
Well, and when they first got Ullmark and then Swayman came up, I think we would have looked at them at the same way we're looking at the Capitals tandem.
I'm also said the Caps have two goalies in Hershey. Hey, Amanda.
Yeah,
you can leave.
They have depth, is what you're saying in Hershey.
Hunter Shepard is a name I recognize. I think he's the third guy, the top guy in Hershey. And Hershey's what? Hershey won the Calder Cup the last 2 years too. So
yeah,
I mean, they must have prospects down there too.
So, but I mean, at the same time, like, do you feel like the cornucopia is running over and they don't have enough room for that much talent? Is it a like a Colorado situation where they had too much talent in one wing, or where you're at now in a Boston situation where you've got too much overfilling and you feel like you got to move them on and type thing? No.
You have until the Atlantic episode to answer that question if you would like.
Fair enough.
We'll give it to that. Yeah.
But that I think they got better.
Caps, the Caps, I think, in the Metro were the team that definitely made the most changes to get the best. They definitely got way better than they were last year by a lot, I would say.
And you can't talk about the Capitals without talking about the Penguins. And that's where Tyson's the expert. They ended the season with 38 wins, 32 losses, 12 overtime losses, and 88 points on the season. I don't have the
not a surprise
list.
We added like Anthony Beauvillier. That's how you pronounce that? Is that right? Blake Lizette. We added Cody Glass. We added Tristan Boz. A guy from Boston, and I always butcher his name. Is it Gizlecki?
At Grizzlick.
So I think for the most part, the Penguins.
And you got the good Aho or the bad Aho, the wish Aho.
The wish version Aho, thank you, not the good one.
The more defensive driven Aho is what I would say. I hesitate to say that the Penguins got better. I think they added more experience to the position. I think they got a little bit more. What's the word? A little bit more aggressive, a little stronger on a defensive side of things. But
They did lose. Let me tell you who they lost real quick. Riley Smith, Brandon Yeager, Pierre
no.
Oliver Joseph, Jensen Harkins. I'm sorry, Tyson, but they did lose Jeff Carter.
No!
Zorna.
Damn it!
How awesome
Darn
would it
it.
be if they bring him for a coach? As like a scout or something.
They did trade. So you mentioned they got rid of Yeager. They did get the was it McGrady or
Rucker McGordy.
never heard his name actually pronounced. So so a lot of chatter around him is that they're more excited for him than they were for Brandon Yeager. I feel like offensively it's pretty well the same. I think defensively we've got a little bit more aggressive on a winger side of things. From what I've heard, he likes to play more two sides of the puck. I've not actually like seen a lot of his replays or his highlights. Um, but as far as winger position goes, as depth goes, he's going to have a chance to be able to be in the lineup. So we'll see what is available and what he's capable of. But I really think that we're somewhere between 5th and 6th in the Metro. If we make the playoffs, it's skin of our teeth, the same way it was last year, which we missed, obviously, but I think that speaks on how close the East is, where you can miss it by a point or two, and that's the exact position the Penguins are going to be in this year, which is unfortunate because we still haven't signed Sidney Crosby, so he's got at least 4 years of hockey left in him, and
You
we'll
think
see
so?
how that goes.
You know how many people
You
I've
don't?
seen claim that they're going to trade him to Colorado at the
No,
deadline?
I heard he's going to Carolina, actually.
Amanda said, "All right, yeah, that's fine. I'll do that. Yeah.
Sure.
How much
You
we
know,
gotta pay him?
Why not?
Every
We've
player
got
is going to
80,000
Carolina.
currently.
Every player is going to Carolina at some point in time. No, I
Just to-
think
just
a
to
lot of the
leave.
Crosby chatter.
That's not happening. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think he is either, and I've heard Crosby chatter, and I've heard like even Elliot Friedman says it's like a concern, but have the whole summer. He just missed the playoffs twice in a row. I feel like on one side he thinks he's a Penguin, he'll be there forever. There's the personal level where he's so competitive, where missing the playoffs is detrimental to his existence. But I think deep down he will stay as a Penguin. Maybe I'm wrong. If he leaves, Colorado I think would be the place if they've got room for him.
Well, and even if they
Yeah.
did trade him, I think he'd be signing back come next year with the Penguins.
Like Jake Gensel was supposed to? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Well,
did he sign?
you know,
Where did Gensel sign?
Tampa.
He's in
Oh,
Russia.
that's right. That's right. I
Oh,
knew
that's
that.
right.
He's in
Not
Russia.
him. Not him.
No, he
That's
was-
the other
That's
Russian guy.
Kuznetsov. I've never been so
I'm
distracted
still-
by crocheting in my entire life that I
Sorry, I'm
mixed up
still
those
in
two.
summer break. I'm still in summer break mode.
No, it's okay. It's okay. The one thing I will say before we
September.
move on, Kevin Hayes, I think is the one guy that you added that will make a bigger impact than people think. Last year he had 13 goals, 16 assists, but that was with St. Louis. He's an older guy. He knows how to play good hockey, and ironically, I think the Penguins' age of players around him will help him.
It went down for one, the average. But no, I think
Like a
that's a
year?
good point. I shut up. I think Kevin Hayes is a actually good one to bring up because I think even at a minimum, he's a locker room presence. And we talked about Jeff Carter earlier, and while Jeff Carter's performance on the ice wasn't like up to snuff on where you wanted to be, but Jeff Carter was a guy in the room that you didn't really want to get rid of. I think Kevin Hayes might fill in the same kind of position, but being little higher performing than what Jeff Carter was kind of here at the tail end of his career. So I don't think the Penguins got worse. I don't necessarily think we got better. I think that if the Penguins can win games in regulation versus taking them to overtime and then ultimately losing those games, will put us in a better position. So I wouldn't say the Penguins are going to miss the playoffs, but like last year, it's going to be close, and they're going to have to win games and get the numbers where they need them to be, and not throw them away in the first 2 to 3 minutes of overtime.
Which I loved
So,
seeing.
Okay, real
Shut
quick,
the fuck up.
just yes or no, Tyson, and then we'll move on to Philly. Yes or no? Are you satisfied with what you saw in year one of Erik Karlsson? Just yes or no?
No,
Just yes or no?
no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
That's
and
fair.
I think that's a hard question when you look at what he did in San Jose, moving over to Pittsburgh. That being said, I think Penguins have probably had one of their worst defensive seasons in
A long time.
ever. We had two own goals. How many teams do you know that have 2 own goals for the entire season? And Erik Karlsson was one of them.
One of them, yeah.
And Chris Letang was.
Yes.
So to me, I feel like there is so much change so quickly in that organization being sold over to Fenway Sports Management Group or whatever the fuck they're called. Losing Hextall, which I don't think is a loss completely, but it's a change at that position. And then bringing in Dubas and then making the trade for Karlsson and then losing Gensel. I think there's so many moving parts with the Penguins that it's just pure chaos at this point. So they can really only get by with what they can squeeze out. So if they have a season again where they're close to the playoffs, I personally would be happy because I think I'm realistic in what the talent pool brings compared to what their competition is. So I think Penguins fans that are upset with where we're at are unrealistic with sports teams in general. We're
Right.
going to lose eventually.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the changes the Penguins have made. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, if Sidney Crosby can do even a percentage of what he did last season, then you guys still have a chance to make it. He was the driving force behind that entire push to the playoffs in the end. The whole season, really. Right. The whole season. Right. Dude ended with 94 points. Like 42 goals, 52 assists. Just absolutely insane. But it's Sidney Crosby. So,
and if it makes Penguin fans feel any better, there was only one team that scored an own goal in the playoffs, and it wasn't Pittsburgh.
That's because they didn't make it.
It was another team. I think that was a team in blue.
Is that the Rangers?
Yeah, it was the Rangers.
Let's move on.
Oh shit, Jesse. Oh shit.
That's fine.
The Philadelphia Flyers. They finished the season 38 wins, 33 losses, 11 overtime losses, with 87 points.
I'll go ahead. Groundbreaking opinion. They're going to be dog shit again this year.
I don't think so. I think they're going to be good.
I want them to be the surprise team because
I think they will be.
Why the fuck would you pick that in your own division? Oh my god!
Because I can like other teams in my own division.
They've got their massive goalie.
No, you can't.
That kid.
So counterintuitive.
That kid came over from Russia. I forget his name.
Matvei Michkov.
Michkov. Yeah.
He doesn't know his own size yet. He's not ready.
They're
forced into that position because of Carter Hart. They're in that position.
No, you're talking about Fedotov. Fedotov, he played some at the end of the season, but they got Michkov, their right winger. They're both from Russia.
Okay, sorry. Yep. That's what it is. The Russian thing. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They got that Michkov guy. Will he play this year?
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to be top line right winger, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Okay, you're right. I apologize.
Owen Tippett, he was playing out of his mind a lot last season.
pretty well was the Flyers' offense, if I kind of remember correctly. He led the team in assists, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty close. I don't have their stats. That's okay. But the Flyers, I mean, Tippett was definitely their driver. Whether it's not, he led in one of those categories, goals or assists. He was definitely the guy.
I think they're gonna be surprising. They're gonna have a fresh season with the Carter Hart stuff behind them. I think the Carter Hart stuff really derailed them.
I agree with that. And Tyson, you're wrong. Travis Konechny led them in goals, assists, and points.
No shit.
Yes, sir.
Good for him. Oh my.
33 goals, 35 assists for 68 points. Oh, and Tippett was behind him in points and goals. He was 7th on the team in assists.
Okay. All right. But still, I mean, you're right. Owen Tippett is definitely driving force in that offense. And with him being so young is a good sign for the team, as much as I hate to say it.
I guess we'll probably duke it out more when we go over our list. The New Jersey Devils, they finished the season 38 wins, 39 losses, 5 overtime losses with 81 points, and they also got rid of Lindy Ruff. Good riddance. They did have some additions and subtractions. They added... You want to read it, Jesse? Because I'm tired of butchering names.
I will need to.
He loves the Devils.
Yeah, so they added Paul Cotter, Stefan Nason, Tomasz Tatar, Brendan Dillon, Jonathan I'm going to butcher this. Jonathan Kovacevic, Brett Pesce, and goaltender Jacob Markstrom. They lost Alex Holtz, Tomasz Nosek, Kevin Ball, John Marino, Brendan Smith, Kapel Kakinen, and Akira Schmid. I think that they are probably the second best team in the division for what they've done in this offseason. And I think that they finally kind of maybe, hopefully, filled the void in net that they had all season long last year. And hopefully they're going to be able to get goaltending to push them forward into this season.
They got heavy plastic surgery. My goodness. They just look like
a
different person.
All over. The whole team.
Yeah, they got better.
Which so I think
especially if they can keep people healthy, like Dougie. I mean, he was gone almost the entire year.
I just picked him up in fantasy, so let's hope for the love of God.
Good one.
Yeah, stays.
And
healthy.
if Brett Pesce can get back to where he was, not last year, but the year before, that's another killer one there.
Hey, but if my aunt had nuts, she would have been my uncle. Anyway, I think with Markstrom's addition, I honestly like with Markstrom alone, I think they jumped so much higher last year. Like the biggest question for them was their goaltending. And it was when it was good, it was great, but when it was bad, it was awful. I think that changed. Shut the fuck up. As long as Jacob Markstrom shows up and performs the way that they're expecting him to, I think that team's significantly better if he's starting on a consistent basis.
If buts were candy and nuts. Jack Hughes needs to stay. Jack Hughes needs to stay healthy. Dougie Hamilton needs to stay healthy.
Luke Hughes.
I think Luke Hughes is gonna be fine. It's Jack whose shoulder's been messed up since that hit that he took from Seattle.
I thought Luke was out for a while.
Was he?
I don't know. There's too many Hugheses.
Yeah, I can't remember who's who.
When I looked at this, it was two questions. Did Markstrom make them that much better, or does the Chell curse worsen them? They're on the cover this year, right? The Hughes brothers. All three of them?
Yeah, that's right.
I completely forgot about that.
Are they going to be dog shit this year? All three of them going to be dog shit this year because they were on the cover?
They just hold 2/3 of the curse.
So where does the 2/3 lie? Does Vancouver get one? So, okay, which Hughes brothers is going to be dog shit on the New Jersey Devils?
Current, as of August 20th, Jack Hughes is listed as day-to-day. Oh.
That's okay.
That one. I mean, that's the one.
Oh.
The other.
They also need Andre Palat to take a step. this year. He only got 11 goals and 20 assists last
Yeah.
year in 71
Ooh.
games, so they need him to step up, do something
When
good.
is his contract up?
And they need to sign Dawson Mercer, I think, right? Oh, RFA.
Yes, correct.
When is
That's correct.
when is Palat's contract up?
26,
Is
27.
he playing for one this year?
No.
Okay, so he's got a couple years then. So I don't know that you see that change. I mean, really, I hate to say it. That's so cliche that like the contract years where they perform, but if Palat's got a couple years to get there, then what's the point? You know, we'll see. I guess.
And you know, the
He's a
other
big
thing
question.
is,
Good point.
once we get to trade deadline time, as long as New Jersey's as competitive as they look, they've got almost 5 million in cap space that they can play with at the trade deadline, pick up a rental. But I think they're dangerous, and I think they're going to be high on my list.
I think
Last,
they're a desirable location. I think they can pull people in a lot better than some other teams. So I
Yeah.
mean, if they've got the space, I think they can get a free agent or entice somebody at the deadline to kind of be that rental or game breaker to push them.
the last team of the Metro is the Columbus Blue Jackets. They finished the season with 27 wins, 43 losses, and 12 overtime losses. They finished the season with 66 points. And quite honestly, they didn't get better. They got a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't even know how to tackle that one.
Yeah.
What do you say? I mean,
they line A is not part of the team anymore, obviously. And we talked about the Goudreau situation, so we're not going to talk about that anymore. I don't know. I'm not trying to be insensitive. It is just a question of how
It's
it will
hard,
work
man.
with the cap.
fuck, it's hard.
I don't know. Has anyone seen anything about that?
Nope.
So
And I'm
my
trying to.
Surely it
understanding
just.
I'm trying to look it up right
My
now. There's
understanding-
nothing there.
My understanding with the situation is that the Blue Jackets are not committed to anything. So
Yeah, it looks
legally
like
speaking-
it's already taken off. Their cap right now is 25.6 million. Yeah, that's already been taken off.
the
So,
the
and-
hope
Hold
is
on,
the hope is the
ask the
Blue
question
Jackets
again,
will spend
Ethan.
that money wisely.
The question, which I think is pretty much answered, is if there's any more cap hit from Goudreau's contract, which it does not appear there is.
From what I
So-
heard, and I take it back. From what I heard, I was listening to NHL radio about this. The Jackets will honor Gaudreau's contract because each team carries an accidental death insurance policy, so it gets paid from that.
Well, that's good. That's good for his family.
That's so. What
But it's not affecting the
exactly what I was
cap.
getting ready to say. The Blue Jackets will end up doing something. I don't know what the number is to support the Goudreau family, but they are
It's the whole
not tied
contract.
to what his contract is. So for cap space reasons, they are open.
Yeah.
To do whatever and I think that that's fair, and I think
Yeah.
that just based off the tone of everybody, that like as unfortunate as that is, they still at the end of the day are a business that has to run. So like
And
they're gonna
the
have to
family,
make the uncomfortable decision to do something, and I think that they will do right and honor their family and do something to help them out. I think they will, and I think that'll push
Yeah.
to Matthew's family as well.
yeah, and that will be all outside of the cap space and how we talk about it here. Which is great.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to say it's a win-win. Obviously, there's no win in the situation, but in terms of hockey and cap space and moving forward, it is a win-win because the team has cap space that they will use. It's not like they're just sitting with the money against them, but also the family's going to get something as well in the worst possible situation of their life. So, again, we're not going to go back into that, but 25.6, that's great. You're
Yeah.
not going to see a big thing happen right now because there's not a lot of players out there that you'd want to spend money on. It's going to be a trade deadline thing, or it's going to be a over the next few season thing.
Right. And I think that they are going to give it some time, if anything, before anything happens. Because, yeah.
Ethan, I don't think it's insensitive to talk about that, and I don't think it's insensitive to mention that at the end of the day, these things are businesses.
Yeah.
Every person in that locker room wants to win games, and every single person in that locker room wants to honor Johnny Hockey the way that he would want to be honored. So it's not insensitive to talk about it in that way. It's not insensitive to say we want to be competitive, because every person in Columbus, if they're truly a hockey player, knows that Johnny Gaudreau would want them to do everything they could to win games, no matter what that means. If that's middle of the row, even less than that, if it's winning games, it doesn't matter, because that's what Johnny Gaudreau would have wanted. So it's not insensitive to talk about those things. And no, it's not. It is a benefit for the team to be able to go out and trying to do those things, because Johnny would have looked at it, I feel like, if he's a competitor, in the same direction. I feel like everybody in the league, in hockey, and in the community has done what they can to support him and show what a good person and great player he was. I think that Columbus to not go out and try to make some kind of effort would be a disservice to him. So I hope, as a person as a fan in the Metro, I hope that the Columbus Blue Jackets go out and do the right thing and spend every penny they can to try to bring some kind of winning team to Columbus. And I think that the fan base earns that. I think the city earns that. I think that Johnny Gaudreau's memory deserves that as well.
100%.
So it's
what I was getting at with like, you know, with the timing. If you look at like the free agents available, because there are several teams with a plethora of cap space, and it's like there's no one really that you want to go out and get. I think, you know, watch for the Columbus Blue Jackets over the next few years. They have Waddell. Is that right, Amanda?
A lot of and a lot of draft picks. A lot of draft picks. My God, they're going to be in great shape in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes, they can. And I think that would make a lot of people happy in Calgary. I think that'd make a lot of people happy elsewhere too. So I think the Columbus Blue Jackets are in a position where they can be hopeful for their future, and that's a good thing to say.
Yep, we can move forward without like just moving forward in the negative way. We can move forward in the positive way.
Correct. Exactly. And that's exactly what I think Johnny Gaudreau would want. I think that's what Matthew would want. I think that's what his family would want. And I think that Columbus has that mindset. I think with a GM like Waddell, I think they can achieve that. So to me, the Columbus Blue Jackets are in a wonderful position as a team. I think that they're going to be in a better position as people, because they're coming through a lot of adversity, and I think that plays tenfold into a team situation.
Yeah. Cass, you were going to say something real quick?
Oh yeah, about the draft picks. I know they have a lot of draft picks, but 5 years ago they had a lot of draft picks too, and it doesn't seem like they hit on too many of those high draft picks. So sorry. But maybe with a new GM there, they'll do a little bit better. But
I think the Metro is one of the hardest divisions, man. And honestly, like, I think when a team is bad, I think it shows more in a division like the Metro, especially in the last 5 years or so. I mean, you've had the Penguins that won double Stanley Cups. You had the Capitals that won a Stanley Cup, and they were first in the division for 4 or 5 years. It's hard to compete in those positions. And I mean, like I said, a lot of the teams that were on the downside of those situations are now looking at the upside. And I think Columbus is one of those teams.
Let's do our just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Do you want to just go down the list for ones?
I'll let Tyson go first.
Why?
Do the whole list. We'll do the whole list. That way.
I think you should make Jesse go first, because his team won it last year.
You're the guest.
He looks not ready.
I am ill prepared.
Okay. No, I am ready.
Go.
I have it written
Okay.
down. It's
All right,
here.
Tyson,
It's
you
in
go
ink.
first.
It's in ink. So I have the Rags as winning the league. Or not the league, the division. Sorry, my apologies. I still think the Isles will sneak up on the second, and I think that they're going to do that by game management, and I think they're going to do it by winning games in regulation. I think the Canes move to third, Devils jump to fourth, and I'm tied. I don't know. You can swap these either
No,
direction.
you have to make a decision. This isn't a participation trophy. Tyson, just choose something.
No, this is a prerequisite. It's a prerequisite. In ink, I have the Penguins at fifth, Capitals at sixth. I actually think the Capitals will be fifth, but we'll move on from that. I have the Flyers at seventh.
So wait,
and
your
I do,
official is
unfortunately-
Pittsburgh, Washington.
It is
Right,
in ink.
that's what
and
I just
can-
wrote down,
I'll
so that's
send
where
it-
we're going.
It's the lighting's bad. I have it in ink. Penguins are fifth. Capitals are sixth. I don't fully believe that, but I wrote it in ink, so it's real. And then I have the Flyers at seventh, and then unfortunately the Blue Jackets at the end of the Metro.
Excellent.
All right.
Amanda.
It's in ink, Cass. I have it in ink.
We
so
got
in
you.
6 months, you can quote me on this. You can quote me on this in 6 months.
Got you. In ink. Set in stone.
In ink, set in stone. I'll send it to the Discord. It's in ink.
What did you write it in, Tyson? I didn't quite get that.
Amanda, please go.
Ink.
I want to
Graphite.
eat. I'm hungry.
Okay,
It's
So,
literally 11
first-
o'clock.
Amanda, please go.
first I have the Rangers. Second, I'm gonna go with Canes. That was my one that I was kind of wishy-washy on. Whoever snorted, thank you for that. Go take some allergy medicine. Third,
Yeah,
Islanders.
we all did.
Thanks. Third, Island. Fourth, Devils. Fifth, the Flyers. I'm moving them up. Before I had them originally. Sixth, the Penguins. Seven, Caps.
You
Eight,
just said
Jackets.
we could be You just said we could be friends.
You're done.
Real quick, Tyson, do you have New Jersey Devils as a wild card team?
I do actually. I have them in fourth in the Metro, which would put them at a wild card team. Yep.
Well, you could have two from the Atlantic or two from the Metro. So I'm just curious what your thoughts were.
I genuinely think that they're if Jacob Markstrom could be solid in goal, I genuinely think that'll fix their problems. They get good enough points to be a wild card team.
You have the Penguins as a wild card team.
Maybe. It's probably going to be the Caps, but we can talk about that later.
Jesus Christ. Amanda, do you have the Devils as a wild card team?
I do have the Pens. Fuck you.
Who's next?
Yes.
She has
And
them.
what about the
at
Flyers?
Fourth, fifth. So yes, she has
Yeah.
the Flyers.
Yeah.
This
Are
is
the Flyers
difficult.
making it too?
This is not including like our opinions about Atlantic, because I haven't gone that far.
That's what I'm saying. You kind
The
of have
theory
to,
is you take 2 Metro, 2 Atlantic.
Oh,
or one of each.
so
Ethan, go for your list.
all right, I'm going to be controversial. Columbus,
Mhm.
no, the New York Rangers.
Arthur.
No.
See, this is why I wrote my shit down, Ethan. This is why I wrote my shit down.
Yeah, you can't
New
change
Jersey
it.
Devils.
It's already there.
New Jersey Devils 1,
What?
New York Rangers 2, New York Islanders 3, Carolina 4, Philly 5, Washington 6, Pittsburgh 7, Columbus 8.
Are the Hurricanes or the Flyers a wild card team?
He has the Canes as the wild card team right now at fourth place.
mhm.
If you take one of each, he has Canes and Flyers in potential wild card spots.
I'm gonna say they both make it.
Okay.
I see.
So I did not put it in ink, but it's in Excel, so that's fine. I've
It's
got
not the same thing.
I can't delete it. It's locked. The cells are locked. I've got the Rangers at 1. I still think that the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be in that second spot. I understand that they've taken a steps back, but I just see that happening. I've got the Devils in third. I've got Washington in fourth at that wild card position. The Islanders, Pittsburgh, Philly, and Columbus.
Okay.
You have the Islanders making the wild card.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
On my list, I have Rangers first, Devils second, Carolina third, Washington in a wild card spot fourth,
Oh.
Islanders fifth, not making the playoffs. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Columbus.
Rather similar to mine. Take it.
Pretty close.
Okay.
I hate Philly. Just to put that out there,
I wouldn't be surprised if
Jesse,
Philly's
did
higher
you
than
have
Pittsburgh.
because I think
Jesse?
they're
Did
good.
you have
I think
Caps
they're
and
gonna be good.
Islanders going?
No, just the Caps.
One of each.
Just the Caps. And Cass, you only had the Caps, right?
Correct.
You were the wild card. Okay. I just want to make sure I had it documented correctly.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I'm gonna try to make a graphic for it and post it this week anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for us, yeah? Do we have anything else? Oh, we've got the goaltender lists.
Oof.
Did you want to do that, or we can do that next time?
Well, we have another list next time. But what
So
we
let's-
can do is we can just
That's the Metro rap, right?
do what?
It's the Metro rap, so
Yeah, that's it for the Metro. So we get to tell Tyson.
Tyson,
Goodbye and
thanks
good
for
night.
joining us, bro. We appreciate
I
it.
love you guys.
Don't lie to us.
Good
Thanks for having
insights.
me. No, I do. Everybody except Jesse. It's been an absolute pleasure
That's
to be
fine.
here.
That's fine.
Thank you all.
Bye. I muted him. Everyone but me, huh? I'm in control. I don't think you realize that I'm in control. Everyone but me.
All right, we can make this super snappy. The NHL Network, they released their top 10 goalies for this upcoming season, and we could just decide if we agree or what we would change super quick. So their list has number 1, Igor Shesterkin, number 2, Connor Hellebuck, number 3, Andrei Vasilevsky, number 4, Jeremy Swayman, number 5, Ilya Sorokin, gosh, number 6, Thatcher Demko, number 7, Sergei Bobrovsky, 8, Jake Ottinger, 9, UC Saros, and 10, Linus Ullmark. Do we agree on 1? Igor Shesterkin.
Yep.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
I do not agree with Connor Hellebuck.
I
do.
I
agree
agree.
with you not agreeing.
I agree with you not agreeing and Cass not agreeing and you. Yes.
Do we bump Andrei Vasilevsky up?
Yep.
Okay. Do you put Hellebuck at 3? I don't.
I don't either.
I think Bobrovsky should be 3.
Just makes me. I think you're fucking high.
he played great.
I would probably put Swayman at 3. I think that Hellebuck is top 5, but I would probably go Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, Swayman, Hellebuck, Sorokin, and then Bobrovsky.
But weren't we saying through the whole thing like Bobrovsky should have won the Vezina?
Not for the regular season.
I was gonna say no. Hellebuck and Bobrovsky are like the same to me. You don't know which version you're gonna get. Like
that's fair.
Years ago, Bobrovsky was ass in the playoffs. This year, Hellebuck was butt in the playoffs. It's just, and they're on the wrong side of whatever age they are.
Yeah.
So, all
right, that's fair.
When you think about Team USA, and we can talk about this a little bit, you see Hellebuck being the number 1. I don't.
No.
And I don't really. According to this list, Jake Ottinger is not making that team.
No,
It would be Hellebuck, Swayman, and Demko, correct?
According to this list.
I think that's ridiculous. Oh.
But all right. So Sorokin up at 4 or up at 3. Shesterkin. Vassy.
Like Swayman doesn't have the longevity, and he's only played half seasons at most every single year. So I don't know if I feel comfortable putting him on 3. That's coming from someone who watches him all the time. Gets his ass off, but like he doesn't have as much as I'm talking about the longevity in between Hellebuck and Bobrovsky. I don't feel like Swayman has that longevity, so I don't want to put Sorokin at 3.
Okay, let's work from the bottom then. Ullmark at 10. That tracks.
I think that's
I agree
reasonable.
with that.
Yeah.
I think he won't be on this list next year. Playing with that
That's
team.
true. Yeah. At that point, I think Saros is low on the list. I'm running out of spaces.
Below him.
Yeah. Okay, fine. If you do Bobrovsky there, then you put Hellebuck at 8.
Yep.
Then Saros. Maybe Demko though.
These lists are difficult.
Demko has, and I feel like Demko's so injury prone.
Yeah. So put him at 7.
Yeah.
Then I think you go, just for the sake of not getting into this argument this late into an episode, then we'll go Ottinger, Swayman.
Yeah, potato in my mind. You know what I mean? Even though Swayman was better than Ottinger in the playoffs, that's okay.
Then Sorokin. No, I'm sorry. Saros goes below Ottinger and Swayman.
Yeah.
Yeah, then Sorokin, then Vassy, then Shesterkin. Yeah, so Shesterkin, Vassy, Sorokin, Swayman,
and whatever else.
Ottinger, Saros, Demko, Hellebuck, Bobrovsky, Ullmark.
I think that's a reasonable reorder of that top 10 list there.
I think Hellebuck's maybe the one that it could be.
Hellebuck's too
high.
high.
Be higher.
I think he's too high.
Yes, at 2, absolutely.
I think Saros is too low. Ottinger's right where he should be. Right,
You're
Ethan?
high.
Otter's 10th. You crazy?
No, I think that what we said. I think that what we said is a solid.
Amanda, that's amazing.
Cass, did you write it down or?
No, absolutely not.
I can write it down. I'll write it down.
Okay.
You wrote down the Metro stuff though, right?
I did. Yes.
Okay, cool.
I think Tyson did too.
Okay, so that's our season 2 premiere.
Yes.
It's the season 2 premiere. It was long.
It was long. It was hard. And I'm going to end it there. I hope you guys enjoyed the new look. I'd like to thank Brandon from Freeze the Puck Hockey for giving us the everything. The whole everything. Thank you so much, Brandon, for doing that. You did a kick-ass job. And if you ever need graphic work, Brandon's your guy. Pay the man. He deserves it all.
Next week we are going over the Pacific Division, and
the specific division,
the very specific one, the specifically bad one, and the NHL Network's top, I believe, defenseman or winger. It's one of those two. But next Saturday.
Yeah.
Next time.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Follow us on X, Twitter at Top Shelf Dusters, Facebook.com/Top Shelf Dusters. Follow us on YouTube. Email us at TopShelfDusters@gmail.com if you have something that you want us to talk about. And until next time, go to hell, everybody. Bye. Love you.